beautiful beings, bienvenido. I am in my robe, of course, has a pocket tribute to my periwinkle robe. This is a very blue, middle, stark blue, medium blue. Got this bold medium blue. Some people are wondering, it's actually a snuggie that I turned around. So there's like a pocket in my back. um, but yes, and I love it because it has like that whole blanket feel, and it's like more kind of to make a hood. It just has like a lot of extra um, that I actually just like wrap around my neck and create like a wrap robe. Wrap robe. Okay. Who do we have here? Datura. Datura. Let's get some focus. Like now, these are the seeds. Maybe you know it as moonflower. These are the seed pods. Very big white flowers. I only know white flowers that open in the night. And of course, the moon is not always out at night, but it's definitely a night flower. So this is a little pokey, but actually, as far as poke goes, it's very nice, I guess. Like I'm pushing on it, you know, nothing like sticks in me or stays in me like a cactus would, or kind of like those goat heads. So that's nice. I just got a foot full of goat heads yesterday. So I'm going to be taking the seeds out of this. I'm going to be, they're already kind of processed, but passion fruit seeds. I'm going to use them as like sleeping pills I've been reading about. And then I've got some cinnamon that I ground up in this like spice grinder, and I'm going to put into a jar. And it started out as these, ooh, some little stuff in there. Started out as like the stick. The stick was too big for me. I like took them like this and cracked them open, and I wasn't able to do it with this one. So maybe a rock. I was also thinking about putting it in my stock or a soup or something and just letting it be in a lot of water for a while. So that's what I'm going to work on. I have, of course, my tea. I'm doing immunity tea because I'm meeting up with some folks to go swimming. I will wear a mask, don't you worry. But I guess not in the water. But we'll probably be a little bit away from each other and, of course, outside. Okay, so I want to go in on reparations. Something short and sweet. But I just did like a reparations training yesterday, and I'm like, quote unquote, because I don't know. I feel like it was a 3-hour thing, and the last 20 minutes were like reparations, and then the beginning was like, we're centering like African descendants of slaves when we're saying reparations. And then the last 20 minutes, they made like worksheets, and one of them was about indigenous rematriation, which I was like, you know, yes, we want repair for everybody, but also this is like a whole thing for Afro descendants. And then when we actually get to the reparations part, we're not even talking about us getting reparations. And the first hour and a half was like how we get bamboozled out of reparations, which is like, okay, but you know, give a trigger warning, do some like collective care in this setting. It was just like one thing after another, and it was like, because we get gaslight so much, let's like have a space to affirm ourselves, which is like, okay, but an hour and a half. And then there's 3 facilitators. One is South Asian, and introduced themselves as like, I'm non-black, but they were the darkest panelists. The other two Afro panelists, the South Asian was the darkest skinned, had the darkest skin tone. I'm trying to word this. The South Asian had the darkest skin tone of the panelists. You know, I would definitely say close to this, like, am I my skin? And it was just alarming because they kept being like, I'm non-black, I'm non-black. And then they did a whole segment that I couldn't even watch. I just kind of watched the intro. So we had the hour and a half of like how we get bamboozled and gaslit, and then a long time, you know, another like half hour of the South Asian person presenting about how non-black people need to like take on this work and like make sure we get reparations as Afro descendants of slaves. But you know me, I need some nuance. I'm like, if you're, you know, black is a racialization based on skin color. So if you're dark skinned for your ethnicity, you're racialized black. You know, even, you know, I would say to some degree, but usually the dark skinned people of any ethnicity are treated in a similar way to those other people with dark skin, or even Afro people in general, because it's all about proximity. It's not about ethnicity. And the people for this reparations group, these three facilitators, kept using black as if it meant descendant of African slaves, or as in like Afro descendant or African, which is just not true. It's just not true. Okay, yeah, I always get distracted when I'm chatting, and this just like heated me up. And you know, it's a free training, but one, it was a training promoting like how to advocate for reparations, and then when it did get to the 20 minutes, it was like a bit, or not a bit, the whole thing was very government focused, and there was none at any moment about like interpersonal reparations, peer-based reparations, coworker reparations, or even how to ask like your friends and peers for reparations, which in my mind it's like, I just interpersonal reparations. I've gotten interpersonal reparations. I'm not sure I've gotten government reparations in my lifetime. I'm not sure my family has gotten any kind of government reparation since we were slaves. But I have gotten reparations from people in my community, my romantic partners, like peers. We're on like cohorts and stuff together. Just different like groups I'm a part of, just like that's a narrative, like, hey, you know, this is a multi-ethnic group. We need to be having conversations like this and actually getting the remedies that we deserve. And it's like, if just call them common people who are European descendants of colonizers, current colonizers, you know, because colonization is alive, or it's happening. I'm not sure if it's alive. I feel like it is dying, but even while you're dying, you're still alive until you're dead. So things that I'm learning. It's just a little frustrating for me, but I'm taking it in stride and wanting to do more to educate people on how to, common people, you know, because sometimes I feel like people are like the 1%, the billionaires, the companies, the industries, and the government, and I'm very much tracking patterns, and it hasn't been working, right? They've been just bamboozling us and gaslighting us for at least a century, at least, but more than that. So that is my thing, and also teaching about emotional reparations, physical reparations, monetary reparations, access and privilege balancing. I did all this kind of work with a romantic partner and made some frameworks for rewilding relationships. And if you've seen some of our other videos, we had a attack and all of our documents are gone. All of our computer files are wiped, deleted. So that might be coming slower. But just, I encourage you to talk to the descendants of colonizers, active colonizers, and get what's yours, African descendants of slaves. Get what is yours. As always, we value you.